Beloved chosen one, let us begin with a truth that is hard to hear, because divine callings rarely come wrapped in comfort. You did not imagine the loneliness. You did not exaggerate the misunderstanding. You did not become difficult. What you are experiencing is the cost of being separated for purpose. When God places His hand on a life, He often removes the noise first. Friends drift. Family stops understanding your silence. Co-workers sense something different about you but cannot name it, so they keep their distance. You are not abandoned. You are being isolated. This is the part nobody celebrates. The part where you show up to work, do your job with excellence, yet feel invisible. The part where group chats go quiet when you speak truth. The part where even at family dinners you feel like a guest instead of belonging. Divine calling does that. It places you in rooms where you no longer fit, not because you are less, but because you are becoming more. You keep asking yourself, why does obedience feel so lonely? Because separation always precedes elevation. God does not build leaders in crowds. He forms them in silence. You are not being punished. You are being positioned. The misunderstanding is not accidental. The isolation is not random. Heaven is editing your environment. There are nights when you lie awake, scrolling, watching others celebrate milestones you prayed for, promotions, engagements, financial breakthroughs, and you wonder if you missed something, if you waited too long, if obedience delayed your life. But listen carefully, what looks like delay is often protection. What feels like isolation is often preparation. You were never meant to blend in. You were marked to stand out, and standing out always costs something. This is why your jokes land differently. This is why shallow conversations exhaust you. This is why certain ambitions no longer satisfy you. God is detoxing you from a life that would have capped your destiny. The Word of God declares in the book of Psalms, chapter 66, verse 10, "For you, O God, tested us. You refined us like silver." Silver is not refined in crowds. It is refined in fire, and fire is lonely. Consider a simple, everyday moment you are at work, staying late again, not because your boss asked, but because excellence is in you. Others clock out early, cut corners, complain. You feel the tension, you feel the separation. And a quiet thought whispers, why am I always the one carrying more? Because God trusts you with weight, because what He is building in you cannot be rushed. Or think about your finances. You budget carefully. You say no to impulsive spending. You feel pressure when others seem carefree. But restraint today is funding tomorrow. God is teaching you stewardship before overflow. He is watching how you handle lack before He releases abundance. Even in family, you feel it. You love them deeply, yet you cannot fully explain why certain conversations grieve your spirit now. You pull back, not out of pride, but out of preservation. God is teaching you boundaries so your calling can breathe. Let me ask you directly, are you willing to be misunderstood now so you can be trusted later? This is the uncomfortable truth. Chosen ones often walk alone before they ever walk ahead. But isolation is not the end of the story. It is the hallway, not the destination. And hallways are narrow by design. Do not despise this season. Angels are closer than you think. Heaven is quieter because instruction is being downloaded. The noise had to leave so clarity could arrive. You are learning to hear God without confirmation from people. That is dangerous in the best way. There is hope here, tangible hope. The same God who separated Joseph placed him in a palace. The same God who isolated David crowned him king. This loneliness has an expiration date. It is training you to stand when applause is absent, so you will not crumble when influence arrives. If this message resonates, like this video, share it with someone who feels alone in their obedience. And subscribe to stay connected to what God is releasing in this season. And at the end of this moment, I want you to make a prophetic declaration, not to me, but before heaven. If you recognize this season of isolation as confirmation, not rejection, comment 888 below. There is an ancient story that begins not with abundance, but with exhaustion. Not with celebration, but with the quiet sound of an empty cupboard. The prophet Elijah is sent by God to a widow in Zarephath, a woman whose life has been reduced to survival math. She has one last handful of flour, a few drops of oil, enough in her mind, for one final meal before she and her son wait for death. This is not poetic desperation. This is practical, terrifying reality. And it is exactly there at the bottom that heaven chooses to intervene. Elijah does not arrive with gold or grain. He arrives with a word that feels unreasonable. He asks her to give first from what she does not have, to bake for him before herself, to trust when logic screams no. This is where the story becomes uncomfortable, because it mirrors moments in your own life. Times when the account balance was thin, when the job offer did not come, when the business stalled, when you were doing everything right, yet resources kept running out. You know that feeling, the one where you sit at the kitchen table calculating bills, deciding which can wait. Or the moment you check your phone hoping for a message that changes everything, and there is nothing. Or when your child asks for something simple and you hesitate, not because you don't care, but because you are counting every dollar. This is Zarephath in modern form. The widow is not lazy. She is not faithless. She is simply empty. And God does not shame her emptiness. He meets it. But he meets it in a way that stretches trust beyond comfort. When she obeys, something shifts. The flour does not suddenly overflow the house. The oil does not spill extravagantly. Instead, it does something quieter and more miraculous. It does not run out. This is how divine provision often begins. Not with excess, but with sustainability. Not with instant relief, but with daily faith. God funds lives in ways that teach dependence, not entitlement. You wake up the next morning and there is enough. Not for the year, not for the future you can see, but enough for today. Scripture speaks clearly in the first book of Kings, chapter 17, verse 14. The jar of flour was not used up and the jug of oil did not run dry. According to the word of the Lord spoken by Elijah, notice what God chose to fund, not luxury, not escape, but obedience. The miracle was tied to a decision made at the lowest point. When lack touched bottom, the source began to flow. This matters for your everyday life, for the person clocking into a job that barely covers expenses, yet still choosing integrity, for the parent holding the family together on a single income, for the entrepreneur investing time and energy when profit feels distant. Heaven is watching what you do at the edge, not how loudly you pray in abundance, but how faithfully you act in scarcity. There is also something deeply personal here. The widow's obedience did not just sustain her, it positioned her household for resurrection later in the story. Provision was not the final miracle. It was preparation for greater authority. God often uses financial pressure, emotional strain, and uncertainty to align a life for future weight. What feels like strain is sometimes training. Ask yourself honestly, if provision came without trust, would it change you or consume you? This season is not meant to break you. It is meant to recalibrate you, to teach you that the source is not the jar, the job, the contract, or the paycheck. The source is God. And when the source is secured, the supply becomes steady even if it is quiet. Hope here is not abstract. It looks like groceries lasting longer than expected, like a surprise discount, like a bill delayed at the right time, like strength to keep showing up. These are not coincidences. They are whispers of funding beginning to flow. You are not failing. You are standing where miracles usually start. Even now, provision may be arriving quietly through endurance, discipline, and wisdom, teaching you that stability built with God lasts longer than sudden abundance gained without Him over time always. One day you will look back and realize the season you feared most was the one that taught you how to trust heaven daily when nothing else remained steady inside. There comes a moment in your journey when striving quietly loses its power. You are still disciplined, still responsible, still showing up. Yet something no longer responds the way it used to. Doors resist effort. Progress slows, results flatten. This is not failure, it is heaven interrupting a pattern that would eventually exhaust you. Chosen one. God does this intentionally. He allows effort to reach its limit so alignment can take over. Because if your future were funded by hustle alone, it would collapse under its own weight. What God is preparing to release requires rest, clarity, and obedience, not constant pressure. You feel this shift most clearly in your daily life. At work, you notice that doing more no longer brings satisfaction. You complete tasks, meet deadlines, but the fulfillment is gone. Not because the work is bad, but because it is no longer central. God is gently removing the reward so you stop mistaking productivity for purpose. Financially, you may feel stretched in strange ways. Income comes in, but peace does not always follow. Expenses rise unexpectedly when plans change suddenly, when this is not chaos, it is correction. God is teaching you that money is a tool, not a foundation. Anything built on numbers alone will eventually shake. Even relationships begin to feel different. You tolerate less. You withdraw sooner. Not out of pride, but out of discernment. Small talk drains you. Drama repels you. You are no longer hungry for attention, you are hungry for alignment. God is refining your appetite so you stop consuming what cannot sustain you. Here is the core truth: divine funding follows direction, not desperation. God does not reward frantic movement. He honors surrendered steps. That is why striving feels empty now. You are trying to move faster than instruction. The Spirit speaks clearly through the prophet Isaiah, chapter 30, verse 21. Whether you turn to the right or to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you, saying, "This is the way, walk in it." That voice does not shout, it does not rush you, it guides. And guidance requires listening more than pushing. Think of a real situation. You are offered an opportunity, better pay, more visibility, but something in your spirit feels unsettled. No clear reason, just unease. That is not fear, that is direction protecting you. God would rather slow your income temporarily than fund a future that pulls you out of position. Or imagine choosing honesty when exaggeration would benefit you. You could secure the deal, impress the client, close faster. But you pause. You tell the truth. It costs you in the moment, but heaven records it. God funds integrity quietly before He rewards it publicly. Let me ask you directly, are you willing to move slower if it means moving right? This season is not about acceleration. It is about accuracy. God is adjusting your steps so provision does not arrive ahead of character. Because early funding without clarity becomes a burden, not a blessing. Here is the hope, clear and concrete. When alignment settles, effort decreases. You will notice things opening with less resistance. Conversations become timely. Help appears unforced. Ideas gain traction naturally. This is what happens when you walk in the way, not just walk hard. At this turning point, I want you to respond with a simple declaration. Comment, "I walk directed." This short statement matters because it affirms a shift. You are choosing guidance over grind, obedience over anxiety, and direction over pressure. When you type "I walk directed," you are declaring that your life is no longer driven by panic or comparison. You are acknowledging that guidance matters more than speed. This comment is not passive. It signals that you trust God's timing enough to pause, listen, and move only when clarity arrives. Saying "I walk directed" means you are releasing the pressure to figure everything out alone. You are choosing cooperation over control. It reflects a heart that understands that wrong speed can delay destiny. But right direction, even slowly, always leads to provision, peace, and sustainable progress over time. This declaration also confronts fear. By writing "I walk directed," you are refusing to let uncertainty dictate your steps. You are affirming that even when the path is narrow or unclear, divine instruction is active. Direction does not remove challenges, but it prevents wasted seasons and unnecessary detours. There is a quiet misunderstanding about delay that has wounded many chosen ones. You were taught directly or subtly that if God favored you, things would move faster. That blessing arrives loudly. That progress must be visible to be real. But heaven does not rush what it intends to last. God slows what He is strengthening. Delay is not denial, it is refinement wearing a disguise. You have lived this. Doors that seemed promised but stayed closed. Answers that arrived just after the moment you needed them most. Plans that dissolved even though you prayed sincerely. You prepared, obeyed, waited, and still nothing moved. This is where discouragement whispers lies. Yet what if the delay was not God holding something back from you, but God removing something ahead of you that would have broken you? Delay reveals motives. When momentum pauses, the heart speaks louder. Do you still trust when results go silent? Do you still obey when progress is invisible? God watches carefully here because what He intends to fund next must be carried by character, not adrenaline. In your professional life, delay often looks like being qualified yet overlooked. You watch others advance faster, speak louder, market themselves better. You wonder if excellence still matters. But heaven is not confused. God is protecting you from promotions that would demand a version of you that cannot survive long term. Some roles elevate income while eroding peace. Delay quietly filters those paths away. Financially, delay disciplines the soul. You learn to steward instead of fantasize. You plan carefully. You resist comparison. You stop chasing symbols and start building structure. God often teaches sustainability before abundance, because overflow without wisdom always leaks. In relationships, delay matures discernment. You stop rushing intimacy. You observe consistency. You learn the difference between attraction and alignment. God slows relational doors so you stop bonding with potential and start choosing covenant. Waiting refines love into something sturdy. This is where many give up, not because they lack faith, but because waiting feels humiliating. Yet humility is not weakness. It is readiness. God resists pride, but He entrusts authority to the humble. Delay bends the heart into a shape that can carry influence without corruption. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Habakkuk. Chapter 2, verse 3. For the vision awaits an appointed time. It hastens to the end, it will not lie. Though it delays, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not delay. Read that slowly. What feels late to you is still precise in heaven. God's timing is not fast, but it is exact. Ask yourself honestly, what if this season is not about arrival, but about alignment? Hope begins to look tangible when you recognize what delay is producing. You speak less, but with weight. You move slower, but with clarity. You react less, but discern more. These are not losses. They are upgrades. God is removing haste so wisdom can take the lead. Picture a crossroads. One road is crowded, celebrated, loud. The other is narrow, quiet, almost overlooked. The crowded road promises speed. The quiet road promises stability. God often hides the strongest paths from mass traffic so they don't collapse under pressure. Delay is how He guides you to the road that holds. This is also where connection becomes sacred. Some messages pass through you like wind. Others stay, like warmth on cold skin. When something steadies your spirit, you do not rush away from it. You stay close. You return. You let it remind you who you are when waiting grows heavy. If these words have felt like a lantern placed beside you in a dim season, then tending that light matters. To like this message is like adding oil to a lamp, not for display, but so the flame doesn't fade before morning. And when you sense someone else walking through a similar delay, tired, faithful, unseen to share, this is like leaving bread on the table for the next traveler. No speeches, no pressure, just quiet nourishment offered with care. Some journeys require companions who understand patience, silence, and unseen growth. To subscribe is not a commitment to content, it is choosing to walk near the fire, returning when the night stretches long. It is staying close to a voice that reminds you delay does not mean forgotten. These are not commands, they are invitations. And invitations are always most powerful when they are freely chosen. Delay will not have the final word. What God is forming in you now will speak louder than what you wished had happened sooner. You are not behind. You are becoming. Rewards are already moving, even if nothing around you looks different yet. This is one of the strangest phases for a chosen one. The inner knowing is ahead of the outer evidence. You sense momentum without applause, preparation without announcement. Heaven rarely delivers rewards loudly. It moves them quietly into position while you are still living ordinary days. This season is not about waiting with crossed arms. It is about cooperating with precision. When rewards are already moving, God shifts your instructions from big prayers to small practices. Not dramatic sacrifices, but disciplined choices. Not grand declarations, but daily alignment. Start with how you manage your energy. God often adjusts rest before He releases increase. You may feel prompted to go to bed earlier, to say no to unnecessary conversations, to protect your mental space. This is not withdrawal, it is calibration. Rewards require capacity. God strengthens the container before He pours. In your work life, the instruction often looks boring. Be consistent. Be thorough. Do what you said you would do, even when no one is watching. Respond professionally when others cut corners. Stay calm in meetings where frustration is easy. These moments feel small, but heaven measures them precisely. Promotion does not begin with visibility, it begins with trust. Financially, you may sense guidance towards structure. Budgeting feels more important. Impulse spending loses its appeal. You start thinking long-term instead of emotional. This is not fear, it is foresight. When rewards are already moving, God teaches you how to hold them without losing peace. He funds order, not anxiety. In relationships, the instruction is often restraint mixed with clarity. You stop explaining yourself to people who have already decided not to understand. You listen more than you speak. You choose peace over proving a point. This protects your emotional resources. Rewards accelerate when your energy is no longer drained by unnecessary battles. There is also a clear instruction around integrity. You do the right thing when it costs you. You refuse shortcuts that promise speed but compromise alignment. You tell the truth even when exaggeration would help. These decisions feel costly in the moment, but they position you accurately. God does not reward urgency, He rewards obedience. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in the book of Proverbs, chapter 16, verse 9. In their hearts, humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. Notice the word steps, not leaps, not explosions. Steps. Rewards do not arrive all at once. They arrive step by step, aligning with each obedient movement you make. Think of a daily situation you feel prompted to learn something new. A skill, a system, a language, a mindset. It feels inconvenient. You wonder why now. But that preparation is not random. Rewards often arrive requiring tools you only developed because you obeyed quietly before the opportunity showed up. Or imagine choosing peace at home instead of control. You respond gently where you used to react sharply. You let go of the need to win every argument. This creates emotional stability. God often moves rewards through relationships, and relationships thrive where humility lives. Ask yourself honestly, are you treating today as preparation? Or are you resenting it as delay? This season rewards simplicity. Drink water, rest your body. Keep your word, finish what you start. These are not self-help habits, they are spiritual positioning. God does not pour new wine into unstable vessels. He strengthens the foundation before He increases the weight. Hope here becomes very tangible. You may notice unexpected conversations that open doors, favor that feels undeserved, help that arrives without asking, delays resolving themselves quietly. These are signs that movement has already begun. When heaven moves, it aligns circumstances instead of announcing miracles. Do not despise small obedience. Every aligned step is a signal flare to heaven that you are ready to receive without collapsing. Rewards are not chasing you. They are meeting you at the coordinates of obedience. At this point, a declaration matters. Not because God needs convincing, but because you need alignment. Comment 555 below. This number represents divine order and transition. By writing it, you are acknowledging that rewards are already moving and you are choosing to stay disciplined, faithful, and positioned as they arrive. There is a moment in every chosen life when mercy becomes quiet, not absent, not withdrawn, just quiet. This is the most dangerous and most sacred intersection you will ever stand in. Because when God has spoken repeatedly and you have understood clearly, silence no longer means confusion, it means decision time. This is not about fear, it is about gravity. Up to now, grace has corrected you gently. Conviction nudged, delays redirected. But there comes a point where God stops repeating Himself, not because He is angry, but because you are no longer ignorant. You know what you are supposed to do. You know what must end. You know what must change. And heaven waits not to punish, but to see whether you will honor what has already been revealed. This is where many people misstep. They think silence means permission. They assume that because nothing happened immediately, disobedience is safe. But silence is often the sound of responsibility being transferred. God will not argue with a will He has already informed. You feel this tension in everyday life. In work, it may look like staying in a role that is draining your integrity simply because it feels secure. You tell yourself it's practical, reasonable, but deep down, you know you have outgrown it. The discomfort is not ambition, it is warning. Remaining too long in what God already released you from slowly dulls discernment. Financially, this moment appears when you know better but delay action. You understand the patterns that keep repeating. You see where discipline is missing. You recognize what needs to be corrected, but you postpone change because facing it feels overwhelming. Silence settles in not because God doesn't care, but because He has already given instruction. In relationships, this is even clearer. You know which connections are misaligned. You sense which conversations are overdue. You feel the weight of boundaries that should have been set long ago. Yet familiarity keeps you stuck. Mercy has been patient, but patience is not permission. What you tolerate past instruction becomes agreement. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Prolonged disobedience does not usually lead to sudden judgment. It leads to gradual blindness. Not blindness of the eyes, but of the spirit. What once felt wrong begins to feel normal. What once disturbed you becomes background noise. This is why Scripture warns not just against sin, but against hardened hearts. The ancient words recorded in the letter to the Hebrews in chapter 3, verse 15, still echo today. If you hear His voice, do not harden your hearts. Notice the urgency of today, not tomorrow. Not when circumstances improve, not when clarity increases, Today, because the heart hardens slowly, quietly, without announcement. This section is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to sharpen you. Conviction is a gift. The fact that this still stirs you means the door is not shut. But doors do not stay open forever. They respond to movement. This is where obedience becomes costly, not dramatic, but specific. You apologize when pride wants to defend. You step away when comfort begs you to stay. You speak truth when silence would be easier. These are not grand gestures. They are precise cuts that free you. Think about a simple moment you feel prompted to stop something: scrolling, spending, venting, compromising. You hesitate, you justify, you delay. Nothing happens immediately, but each delay weakens sensitivity. Obedience delayed long enough feels optional, and that is where danger lives. God is not asking for perfection. He is asking for response. Now, He does not require speed, but He does require sincerity. When you move, even slowly, mercy rushes back in. When you ignore, silence deepens. There is also deep hope here. The same God who warns is the God who restores. The same silence that feels heavy can be broken by one act of obedience, one honest prayer, one decisive step. Heaven responds quickly to humility. This is why this moment matters so much. You are standing at a threshold, not between good and evil, but between obedience and stagnation, between sensitivity and numbness, between alignment and drift. Do not underestimate small decisions. Most destinies are not lost in rebellion, but in delay. Not in hatred of God, but in postponement of obedience. Yet the reverse is also true. Most breakthroughs begin with one uncomfortable yes. You are not being condemned. You are being invited seriously, urgently, lovingly to choose life again, to choose clarity, to choose responsiveness. God still speaks. The question is whether you will respond while the voice is still near. This is the weight of section 6. Not pressure, but truth. Not fear, but clarity. You are not one mistake away from destruction, but you are one decision away from renewal. And that decision is not dramatic. It is simply obedience now. Now you arrive at a quieter kind of triumph. Not the kind announced with trumpets, but the kind felt deep in the chest, a steady knowing that something has settled. You are no longer scrambling for proof. You are no longer begging for signs. You are standing inside alignment. This is what passing looks like. not perfection, but positioning. God funding your life does not mean ease without effort. It means peace without panic. It means that even when challenges rise, you are not shaken at the core. Provision no longer feels random. Guidance no longer feels distant. You move with an inner steadiness that did not exist before. You see it in your daily rhythms. Decisions come with less anxiety. You pause before reacting. You listen before speaking. You sense when to move and when to wait. This is maturity. This is authority learning how to breathe. In work, you are no longer driven by desperation. You still pursue excellence, but not validation. You understand that your value is not negotiated in meetings or measured in titles. God funds what aligns with purpose, and purpose always outlives position. In finances, you notice a shift, not necessarily instant abundance, but consistency. Needs are met, timing improves, stress decreases. You steward with confidence instead of fear. Money becomes a servant, not a master. That is true wealth. In relationships, you stand differently. You love without losing yourself. You set boundaries without guilt. You choose depth over noise. You recognize who can walk with you and who must remain behind. There is no bitterness here, only clarity. This is the fruit of obedience, not loud, not flashy, but unshakable. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 33. But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. Added, not chased, not forced. Added. This is the promise you are now living inside. There is a beauty to this stage. You stop proving, you start becoming, and becoming is slower but far more powerful. You realize God was never trying to impress the world through you. He was forming a vessel strong enough to carry peace, provision, and responsibility at the same time. This is also where community matters, not crowds, but connection. When words resonate, they feel like shared breath. You linger near them. You return to them, not out of obligation, but recognition. Staying connected to truth is like staying near a well you don't drink once and leave forever. If these words have felt like a hand steadying your back as you learn to stand upright, then honoring that moment matters. To like this message is like placing a marker on the road, saying, "Here is where I found my footing." And when you sense someone else still wandering, tired, faithful, unseen to share, this is like lighting a candle and setting it in the window, not shouting directions, just offering light. Some journeys are too heavy to walk alone. To subscribe is like choosing a seat at the same table, returning when nourishment is needed, when clarity must be refreshed. It is not a contract. It is a choice to stay near what strengthens you. And if these words stirred something personal, something you cannot fully explain, yet leave a comment. Not for attention, but as a quiet witness, like carving initials into a tree, marking the place where something changed inside you. This is not the end of the road. It is the start of a steadier one. You may not feel dramatic change immediately, and that is intentional. God often confirms obedience with peace before he confirms it with progress. The quiet settling in your spirit is evidence that alignment has been restored. This is the space where anxiety loosens its grip, where urgency fades, where you stop checking the door every 5 minutes. When obedience is chosen, heaven no longer needs to chase you. You are already standing where provision can reach you. What once confused you will soon make sense, not because answers arrive all at once, but because you are no longer fighting the process. Resistance drains clarity. Surrender sharpens it. You are learning that obedience is not loss, it is exchange. You lay down control, and you receive direction. You release speed, and you gain accuracy. Nothing essential is taken from you here. Even now, unseen adjustments are being made around you. Conversations shift, timelines realign, hearts soften. These movements are subtle, but they are precise. God works quietly when outcomes must last. Carry this awareness forward, not with fear, but with steadiness. You have chosen responsiveness over delay. That choice will echo forward, opening doors that only obedience could unlock. Before you move on, pause for a moment. Let everything you've heard settle without rushing to name it. Not every truth needs to be explained immediately. Some truths are meant to sit quietly, like seeds resting beneath the surface, doing their work unseen. If this message has been useful to you, if even one sentence steadied you, clarified you, or reminded you of who you are, then you are free to let it travel further. You may choose to share it, not as an announcement, but as an offering, like passing along a cup of water you once needed yourself. No obligation, no urgency, only if it feels right. And if it was not for sharing, that is also enough. You are allowed to keep what touched you. Some insights are personal. Some moments are meant to remain unspoken, folded gently into your own journey. Growth does not always need witnesses. What matters is not what you do with this message publicly, but what stays with you privately. Perhaps it was a reminder that you are not late. Perhaps it was clarity about a decision you already knew the answer to. Perhaps it was simply the reassurance that your quiet faithfulness has not gone unseen. Take that with you. You do not need to agree with everything, you do not need to remember every word. Keep only what resonated. Release the rest without guilt. Wisdom knows how to sort itself. There is no dramatic ending here, because real transformation rarely announces itself. It continues quietly, showing up later in calmer decisions, steadier boundaries, gentler confidence. Wherever you go next, go without pressure, and on whatever you choose next, choose with awareness. And if nothing else, remember this: you are not required to rush. You are not required to prove. You are allowed to walk forward thoughtfully. That is enough for now.